Hey, 16, turn me up.
Oh,
All right, well, you just want to get it out.
yeah. I mean, there's really no point of an intro, man. I don't know. I don't have the energy. I don't have the media personality, the whatever you want to call it, to put any type of spin on getting into character and giving you a proper Views from Section 400 intro, giving you a good intro for a good podcast. There is nothing good about the next 5 minutes that's going to come out of my mouth because I have nothing good to say. Am I shocked? I can't say I'm particularly shocked. We've seen this before. Collapse in the World Series, collapse in the NLCS, collapse in the NLDS. We're going in reverse. What's next year? The wild card? It's year after year with not only baseball in Philadelphia, with seems to be every single sport. I wrote down some key things here that I need to go over before. Again, on Saturday or Sunday, I couldn't comprehend. It's the opposite side of still not being able to comprehend. The offense didn't do anything. The offense didn't show up. I said this, going into the series, great, they won the NL East. This team is almost built not to win the NL East. They need to get, in that as a wild card team and catch fire late. Them sitting at home for a week, doing a scrimmage midweek to get prepared, that did nothing. The bats couldn't get going, and they stayed cold. Schwarber, Turner, Harper, all your big money guys didn't show up, other than maybe Schwarber. Harper, sure, big home run in game 2. I go and I want to highlight one guy, and I really hope he's not on the team next year, and that's JT Realmuto. I don't think that guy hit a baseball for the final 3 months of the season. He forgot how to hit. Sure, he plays nice defense. I don't care about defense. Winning is on scoring runs. You saw what the pitching staff done all series. The pitching staff was pretty lights out. Here and there collapsed with the bullpen. Okay. But pretty lights out with the starters. You need to score runs to beat teams, especially teams that are red hot, that are always going to come right back. You need to be able to keep up. We have a guy in the wings, Rafael Marchand. I think he bat like 300 this year from both sides. I'm not saying he's ready, but I want to see him at a minimum backing up Realmuto next year and primed to take over as the starting catcher, because I would love to have seen what he did in that series. And I know that is a crazy overreaction. I'm probably going to get killed for that. But Realmuto not being able to get hits in big spots killed them in this series, as well as other guys. Big on Realmuto not being able to get hits. We go to the bottom of the lineup. Johan Rojas, defensive specialist, can't get hits in prime spot. Brandon Marsh, where was he? We were hyped up about this guy that came in from the Angels. We traded a piece, got him. Oh, my God, he has some couple nice hits. This guy has done nothing in the playoffs. I don't care what he did 2 years ago. I don't care if he did anything last year. He didn't do anything this year, and now is the time where you need to show up, and now is the time where you need something good to happen. Brandon Marsh did nothing. I go to Bryson Stott. I love the guy. He's a fan favorite. He plays good defense. He plays hard. He wants to do the right thing. I'm not saying any of these guys are trying to suck, but you feel for a guy like Stott who's going out there and trying to get it done. He needs to improve big time next year, or there needs to be another tough conversation. This is what needs to happen in the offseason. We can't have these piddle-paddle, feel sorry for ourselves for 2 months, get to the winter meetings, make some big, nice signing, i.e. Trey Turner last year, and hope for the best come spring training in March and the rest of the year. Something needs to change with this offense. I don't know if it starts with Harper. I don't know if it starts with Turner. I'm pinpointing Realmuto because he's an easy fall guy right now, because Harper and Turner are tough guys to move on from and get rid of. Realmuto didn't do anything, and you have a guy in the wings, Rafael Marchand, who might be able to get it done. I really don't know where the team goes from here. John Middleton is in, I almost feel bad for him. They said go over the luxury tax. He goes over the luxury tax. He's in the locker room screaming, "Give me my effing trophy back. Give me, do this, do that," trying to let it spark, trying to get the team fired up. Nothing's working. We pointed to Harper to be the image of the team, which he is. the image of the city, which he is, and it's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. So from here on out, I don't think I'm going to think about baseball for the next 3 months. I'm sure, as I always am, as delusional as I am, will have myself back in on Phillies baseball come February for just to be hurt again. And by the way, a guy who needs a special shout out is Nick Castellanos. He came to play this series. He was lights out this series defensively and offensively. That's what you have to be in the playoffs. You have to do it on, we talk about football, doing it on both sides of the ball. You can talk about it in baseball, doing it on both sides of the field, both sides of the diamond, whatever you want to say. He played lights out defense. He hit the ball well. He hit the ball consistently. After a lot of criticism, was getting booed in game one. That lit a spark under him. Harper didn't light the spark. Turner seemed to care, couldn't get it going offensively. And now, we see it every year. One team gets red hot. We're seeing it in the American League. Tigers 1 game away from an American League. Mets catch fire late, which I'm still not sold on that team. I think they're getting, like, they caught a Phillies team that couldn't hit a wiffle ball with a tennis racket. So let's pump the brakes on the Mets. The Brewers stink. And yes, the Phillies have no offense. So I'm not going to give the Mets their credit where they think credit is due just yet. But sure, NLCS is a big spot. Padres or Dodgers are going to be a much different match than the Brewers or Phillies. And Brian, you can sit there with your fucking smirk all you want. The Padres are going to be a bigger battle than any of the first 2 rounds. The Dodgers are going to be a much bigger battle than any of the two. And you can sit there and laugh and think I'm making shit up and talking out of my ass and I'm just pissed off, which I am. It's 10 times harder than what you just faced in the wild card and National League divisional rounds.
Well, yeah, I don't want to kick you while you're down, but that's kind of how the playoffs work.
Not at all.
It gets harder as
Not at all. You see teams where they play tough matchups in the wild card and the next round isn't that hard. I would argue that year when the Phillies went off, it was a tougher matchup against the Cardinals than it was against the Braves. The Cardinals, they had to have this crazy comeback, borderline force extras to win the game. The Braves, they borderline walked through that round.
All right, I'll let you be mad.
Look, the Phillies were the best team, borderline best team in the National League this year. The Padres next round is going to be tougher than playing the best team in the National League.
It is.
So no.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So you caught 2 teams who don't have offense. I'm not sold on the Mets pitching staff. Sure, the offense is good. That Mets pitching staff is not good. It's not. It's mind-boggling.
You watched the game today. You watched the game today, and you saw the stat of Jose Quintana since mid-September with a .6 ERA.
It is stupid how nobody can figure those bums out. Stupid. They are bums. They are bums that are catching fire. I don't understand how Jose Quintana is not getting rocked. Minea, he figured out he pitched from the side now. That guy had a 16 ERA in the postseason. It's a joke.
And he shut down the Phillies.
He shut down the Phillies? Yeah, he did. The Phillies have no offense. That's not impressive. That's not impressive at all. They have no offense. They have no heart. They have no care for this city. You borderline have to blow it up. What? Harper's 32. Real Muto's an old man. Turner's getting up there. We're starting to look at a trust the process in baseball form. And I don't know if it's the curse of Bryce Harper. I don't know what it is, but I don't know that Harper could be Embiid-esque where he's just cursed.
Oh my God. Maybe.
You're laughing, but it's true.
Matt, you're on fire right now. I love it. You're on fire.
Dude, I'm sweating bullets. I don't know. I mean, I like football number one, obviously, but like baseball is like it goes 1A, 1B for me. Like baseball, in terms of like passion, like the everyday, the ins and outs, right? Like people get fired up for Red October. They're there and they're drinking and have a good time and go Phillies and this and that. I'm there in April, man. It's a rain delay and still 40 degrees out. I'm there in May. I'm there in June. Like every single night, it's after work. The Phillies are on. Like I'm in and out every move. I'm there. So when a collapse like this happens on a team that you know is so capable, Brian's going to hate this one, but dominated the New York Mets in the regular season.
No, they didn't.
Goes out.
That's just a false.
They dominated them early in the year, and usually when the Phillies can't win a game in May against the Mets, I don't think they lost the game. So to see a Mets team that's 15 games under 500 and so far out of it, to squeeze their way into the playoffs in a situation where they shouldn't have even made it. Look, life is a game of luck, and the Mets are using the hot hand to propel themselves one more round. I don't even want to give them credit just because the Phillies suck. The Brewers suck. It's the teams are bad that they're playing. Bad that they're playing. And that's what I'm going to sit on. And if they somehow beat a Padres team who I think is going to beat the Dodgers, I want them because I think the Padres beat the Mets all day. If the Dodgers get there, I don't know about that as much. But if the Padres are there, I think, I don't see the Padres losing to the Mets in a National League Championship Series. I don't see Quintana with this rinky-dinky wiffle ball 70-mile-an-hour horrible pitch. It is not fooling Fernando Tatis. Manny Machado is not getting stunned on that. Luis Arraez, borderline best pitcher or hitter in baseball, is not getting stunned by these Mets pitchers who are known to be horrible, who just have somehow caught life. Do they do steroid testing in the postseason? Because those guys need to be tested.
Again, I hate to kick you while you're down, but if you love the postseason stats or the regular season stats so much, the Mets were 5-2 against the Padres this year.
Well, now we're just picking and choosing what we like to see, right? I mean, now we're just –
That's exactly what you did.
I know. That's what you're doing, though. You're just like, this or that. But, again, the Padres are a team that caught fire at the end of the year. Padres are a team that's red hot right now. And I'm using these stats almost against the Phillies because they rocked a guy like Sean Manaea 2 years ago.
He's a different pitcher now.
Which
things change year to year. I think that's what you're experiencing.
Things clearly change.
Shouldn't be this drastic.
In the second half of the season,
16 ERA to 7 scoreless. That's too much of a fucking difference. It's too much.
Look, man, you got to get hot at the right time. That's what this is all about.
You got to get hot at the right time. Not in this. This is like worse than like a POW camp in World War II. This feeling right now, to have to sit there oh my God, dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. And they're going to get up there and they're going to have these blank faces and talk about how they got to be better and you got to do this, you got to do that, and this and that. Like, I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to see it. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Phillies baseball is done. I guess I can get back to enjoying my life. But I can't even do that because I have a football team that doesn't know how to play football.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, look, I know you probably don't want to be here for that long, but can we at least get your thoughts on what you think the Eagles are going to do this week against the Browns?
It's only fitting that they lose, right? I mean, the Browns have been probably arguably the worst team in football all year. Everyone's touting that. I was watching an Eagles pregame show the other night. How stupid can they be to say, oh, look at the Browns, a perfect team out of the bye, a perfect team to play. There is no perfect team to play as for the Eagles right now. They're in shambles. There's disconnect between the quarterback and the head coach. You already know how I feel about Hurts's turnover problems that have been early and often to start the year. There's no perfect team for the Eagles to play out of the bye. So the fact they were throwing that out there, I thought I was gassed. It was ridiculous that I had to hear that. What are the injury reports like? Is Jalen Hurts is healthy, obviously. Is A.J. Brown back? Is Lane Johnson back? I've been so consumed with headaches and heartaches of Phillies baseball for the last 5 days that I haven't even been able to keep up with Eagles football, which now I can dial up the rest of the day tomorrow and into the weekend, which we'll be fired up for some live show action, and I'm sure I'll cool down as the weeks or as the days, probably weeks, go on.
AJ Brown is supposed to be back.
So AJ Brown's back. Okay, so I have some. I wouldn't even call that good, dude. I really don't even care. I mean, it's unbelievable how a team so capable, so many capable. I mean, how many times has Trey Turner killed the Phillies? Killed the Phillies, and the guy doesn't even know what's going on. Harper used to kill the Phillies on the Nationals. Can barely hit a baseball. Cassiano showed up, whatever. Real Muto forgets how to play. I mean, even some of those pass balls, I get it. Like, a pass ball's tough. Like, dude, you're just, like, letting them go. I mean, it's just, look, when you're down, you're down. And that was super apparent for the Phillies. I always had it in my gut before the series started that this, I said I wanted to play the Brewers, and I said it in the group chats earlier. This series was over when Alonso hit that home run in the 8th inning against the Brewers. It was just destined for that to happen. So, yeah, back to the drawing board for the Phillies. Reverse is their trend as they go. World Series loss, National League Championship Series loss, and now a National League Divisional Series loss. I mean, trends are trends for a reason. Should I even watch baseball next year if I already know the outcome?
Was that a wild card loss?
Yep.
That would be the way it's trending. Brian, your thoughts. More happy to see me pissed off, or more happy that the Mets are on their way to the championship series? I know it's a tough call.
Well, they kind of coincide, but I'm happier about my Mets than I'm sorry you're hurt, but you were just in the way of the, oh my God, Hawk Tua gay grimace Mets. It's just how it had to be. This team doesn't make any sense. I mean, everything you're saying, you're right. Like, Jose Quintana shouldn't be pitching this well. Sean Manaea shouldn't be pitching this well. Jose Iglesias shouldn't be getting big hits. Mark Vientos shouldn't be turning in the papers, but they are. And it doesn't make any sense. This is a transition year. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I'm so happy.
Transition year. The fucking rebuilding transition year. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's what David Stern, that's what this is. They are
on and on we had a transition year of borderline cleaning house, trying to get guys from the minors up, and maybe like reconsidering going after top guys in the off season. Almost, I don't even remember the guy's name. The VP for the Phillies. What was his name? It wasn't Matt Klentak, but it was his sidekick. Andy something, or I don't know, dude. But he said he came out and had that, like, if we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't comment. And that's kind of, I guess, what your guys said, except they took it and run with it. When he said that to Philadelphia, that was not received lightly.
Yeah, I think it was just the failures of, like you said earlier in the year, the Steve Cohen experiment. He called it a failure. It was bad, so they needed to pivot, and they pivoted with David Stearns, who has put together a masterclass and just gotten these guys that just the team chemistry is insane. The gimmicks, just the fan base, like everything has gone right, and that never happens with the Mets. Like Edwin Diaz walks those two guys in the 9th inning today. They're supposed to give up a 4-run inning and then lose that game and then lose in Philadelphia. He's not supposed to come back and strike out and then get Schwarber to end the game. That doesn't happen. Francisco Lindor doesn't hit a grand slam. That's not supposed to happen with the Mets, and it's happening. And that's just why I'm so lost.
It's been the tune of the Mets for the last 10 years. Is like, you always know they're gonna blow it. You always know they're gonna choke. There's always something bad that's gonna happen, and somehow this playoff season, it is the power of all those 12 different stupid memes they have going for them. That's somehow like the shield in front of the team that's keeping all the badness out.
Yeah, and even like Francisco Lindor, I love David Wright so much, but this man is quickly becoming my favorite Met of all time. The fact he's just had these hits in the big situations, and you think it's coming, and then he executes. The home run against the Braves, the home run today, the big plays on defense, like everything he does. It's just the bats were silent today. Ranger Suarez was dealing. He would get himself into trouble, and then he'd throw a wicked curveball. And I was getting flashbacks from Beltran striking out looking on the curveball because Mets can't hit a curveball. And then Francisco Lindor comes up against the bullpen, against the Phillies' best pitcher, best deadline acquisition. And it's a grand slam.
Yeah, and we can get into that as well. What a terrible deadline for Dombrowski. There was a lot of other pieces out there, a lot of other things you could have done. I'm not saying you got to blow up the farm system, but the Phillies, like in recent years, they haven't had this, but the Phillies have a pretty decent farm. There's some pieces there that they can move that have value. I'm not saying you have to give away the top guys, but like there's a couple arms there that they have. There's some position players that like there's guys there that you can move and possibly get something. Austin Hayes does not cut it on a team that is trying to win 100 games, win the division, and has World Series aspirations. Austin Hayes does not cut it. Carlos Estevez, sure, nice year. Grand slam in an elimination game. Does not cut it.
I tweeted it back in the summer that the Mets won the Austin Hayes trade. And I think now it's true. Francisco Alvarez hits the walk-off against Sir Anthony Dominguez when he gets to the Orioles. And then Austin Hayes just doesn't do anything against the Mets in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it was a super small sample size, but for what he was given an opportunity to do, he did nothing with it. And oh my gosh, dude, like, I know it's the old school way for no batting gloves, but like, dude, put some fucking batting gloves on. Like, holy shit. Like, what are you trying to reinvent the wheel, dude? It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, it's tough. And then meanwhile, you have the Mets with Jesse Winker, who had himself a home run, and he's had some big playoff moments.
Big playoff moments. Who I swear to God, I know you're saying no, it didn't, but like that guy, I swear, has been DFA'd all over the place. and whether he hasn't been DFA'd, that guy on the Mariners was batting like 190, and out of nowhere is just hitting like Barry Bonds-esque quadruple deck home runs that are like lost in the light when they're leaving the stadium. It makes no sense. Where is this coming from?
Coming from the oh my God magic.
And the fact that Fox has to buy into it and play that every commercial break cutaway. Shame on them.
We got Grimace on the graphics when they're coming back.
It's such a it's a disgrace. Why feed into it? Why?
Like I said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You're just caught in the crossfire of what has been a crazy Mets season.
Yeah, I mean it should have ended in Milwaukee. I mean, it
should have ended in Atlanta. It should have ended in May. I mean, really, when Jorge Lopez threw his glove, it should have ended.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of things that should have had this team fall off the tracks.
Never did.
And somehow, some way.
And I know when Rob Thompson, after his Game 3 presser, when he said this team's been resilient all year, when he was talking about the Phillies, the Mets saw that and they were like, wait a minute.
We've been way more resilient. I don't even know where to go from here. Do you want me to sit here for the pod? Like, what do you want me to do? I don't even know what to do.
I'll let you go if you want to go. I'm not going to make you sit through this.
All right, you guys run the NFL. I'm out. I don't know when you'll see me next.
Oh man. Well, we didn't have a proper intro, but if you guys didn't know, the Mets beat the Phillies in the NLDS today. Well, just like that, we are back. Matt was back, and we let him go. The New York Mets are headed to the NLCS. I don't know how. I don't know why, but the New York Mets are headed to the NLCS, and you guys might have not seen it because Matt kind of sobered me up a little bit, but I was crying. I was crying for a while, and we still have a few more rounds to go here, hopefully. So I don't know what I'm going to look like if we even go another round to the World Series, but I am not ready for this run to be over. I probably will write another blog about it the day you guys are watching this on Thursday. It's just I'm lost for words, and I wish I could have more of an actual reaction and some analysis for you guys, but at this point, It's just pure vibes and pure adrenaline and pure just the New York Mets doing things that the New York Mets aren't supposed to be doing. Like I said earlier. And for me to go out and tweet Francisco be great, and then a minute later Francisco is great. That's not supposed to happen. I'm supposed to mush him, and that's supposed to be an inning double play. And Matt's supposed to be sitting here telling me how Zach Wheeler is going to shut us down in Game 5 in Philly. But it didn't happen that way. And instead, the Mets are looking at a Californication to either San Diego or LA on Sunday. And I'm just going to be here for the ride. And I know a lot of you are Philly fans, so you're probably not too excited about it, but I will keep you guys posted if you're not rooting on my downfall already.
I'm happy for you, man. Very, very happy for you. Just a fairy tale, stretch right now for the Mets. That Pete home run against the Brewers, and now this freaking Lindor grand salami to win them the series, send them to the NLCS. This is just you can't draw it up any better. Your big players making big time plays, and I'm happy for you, man.
And we got Jeff McNeil coming back for the NLCS too. So the portals are even opening. The Avengers Endgame portals are opening, and they're still bringing in reinforcements. So the ride may not be over yet, but we got a lot to get to today. First of all, we'll do our winners and losers of the week. But before we get to that, that is presented by our good friends at SeatGeek. The best time of the year is here. Football is back. And whether you're going to a game at Jordan-Hare to cheer on Auburn, going to the Link to watch the Birds, or going up to MetLife, not JetLife, Matt, to watch the Giants probably lose, you're going to want to go to SeatGeek, the official sponsor of the Views from Section 400 podcast. New users, $20 off your first purchase by using code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout. Again, new users, $20 off your first purchase to any football game, any postseason baseball game, anything you're doing this late summer or fall. Code VIEWSFROM400 at checkout. Thank you to SeatGeek, the official sponsor of the podcast. All right, well, Jack, I think Matt and I did enough talking in the first part of this, so I'll let you lead it off with your winner of the week.
Yeah, my winner of the week. I mean, I could make it you or the Mets, but I'm going to make it postseason baseball right now. It is electric. We talked about the fairy tale storylines happening for the Mets, but in every series across this great Major League Baseball league, yeah, it's just been awesome, dude. The postseason has been electric. Every single pitch, that's just the beauty of baseball. Every single pitch, it's a. I love it. I love every single second of it. And it really just, as much as we like to shit on Manfred and this and that, the uniforms, it's all coming together in the postseason right now, and it's a phenomenal product. I just have one question for you, being our resident, baseball insider. Do they not have the pitch clock in the postseason?
They do. It's just the players are so adapted to it now, you don't really notice it anymore.
Okay, gotcha. Because I don't even think I saw it like on the broadcast or anything like that. Like I couldn't even tell that it was going on. But the game still did seem like just as fast as it did during the regular season with the pitch clock on. So I guess that answers my question.
Yeah, Aaron Nola actually got one against the Mets in Game 3. I think he ended up striking out Alvarez, so it didn't really matter. But it was a 2-2 count, so it was a big pitch clock violation. But that's the only one I've seen in the playoffs.
Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know they had it. But yeah, postseason baseball, big winner for me. Big loser for me, it's going to be the top dogs in the SEC. We just had Bama lose. We just had Tennessee lose. Mizzou lost. 2 weeks ago, we saw Georgia go down to Bama. We saw who lost? Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. I mean, the SEC is just cannibalizing itself. I mean, I guess you could say it's a winner in the sense of, it's way more competitive, but at the same time, I don't know who's going to make it out into the playoff now. It's getting shaken up pretty crazy.
It's going to be a weird end to the college football season. And I think I've said this like 3 times already this year, but we say this every year that it seems wide open. But this year it might truly, especially with the 12-team playoff, be wide open. I don't think there's a dominant team in this kind of scope of college football, and it might make our job harder to pick a future. I don't know if we'll strike gold like we did with, I guess, silver like we did with Washington last year, but we're gonna try.
You're damn right. We will try, and we will be sure to give you guys our future. When do we gotta give that to them by?
I think I want to put the World Series. Like at some point during the World Series, we should give out one of those shows. We should give out our college football future.
I like it. I like it.
Well, my winner of the week was going to be Ashton Genty because he's the Heisman favorite and he's on pace to break Barry Sanders' rushing record. But just because of the night I've had, I have to give it to David Stearns and the transition year. I just have to.
Bro, you in this transition year, like it can't be a transition year if you were making these moves and they're
It
working
is.
out.
All the moves have been like they've been Wilpon-esque moves where he hasn't spent anything, but everything has worked for the most part. I mean, he's had his duds like Adrian Hauser. It was always the Tyrone Taylor trade. Now I know. I thought it was the Adrian Hauser trade, but Tyrone Taylor is playing center field for the New York Mets, and they're winning baseball games in the playoffs. So that's crazy. But all of his bullpen moves, Jesse Winker, everything is working. And I guess my winner could be David Stearns too, or Steve Cohen. He's throwing block parties outside of Citi Field. We got Grimace showing up on the 7 train. Like, I can't get over this, and I have to sneak in my New York Mets one more time before we go completely into football. But I will say, Ashton Genty, he's having a heck of a year. He has 1,031 yards and 16 touchdowns through 5 games right now.
It's insane.
Yeah, he's on pace for 2,400 yards and 38 touchdowns in the regular season. And the way Boise State's going, they're definitely going to have at least a bowl game. So probably going to break Barry's records there.
Yeah, he's having an absolutely insane year. 13 touchdowns in 5 games is stupid.
Yeah, and Travis Hunter is the second, according to odds right now, to win the Heisman. Genty's plus 240, Hunter's plus 320. I bet you everyone that has a Travis Hunter ticket is begging Genty to just shut himself down and prepare for the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, may happen depending on how Boise's year goes.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, look, you got to think this guy, he's not. I mean, you would think, he's a ball player. He's not going to just shut himself down, as they're trying to go make a run here, college football playoff on the line, all that good stuff. But there are Jamar Chases out there, so you never know.
Yeah. And my loser of the week, I hate to kick Arizona fans while they're down. I'm sorry the Mets didn't sweep the Braves for you. But it's going to be the Arizona Coyotes because they are gone now. They are rebranded into the Utah Hockey Club. And that Utah Hockey Club won their opener 5-2 over the Blackhawks.
Hey.
The opening goal was scored by 2021 Arizona Coyotes first round draft pick Dylan Gunther. So the guy that was supposed to save the Coyotes franchise just scored the first Utah Hockey Club goal in the first 5 minutes of their existence.
Shout out the Utah Hockey Club. That is just so Washington football team-esque.
Yeah, I kind of like it better than the football team, honestly. I think they should just keep the name.
The Utah Hockey Club. I don't know. I think they can do better.
Yeah, they could probably do better, but the memes that their Twitter fans come up with, you just lost to the Utah Hockey Club and like having big guys in business suits or something. I don't know. I think you could come up with a lot of, or like a YMCA hockey team, come up with a lot of good content on Twitter from that.
Whatever floats your boat, Brian.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it for my loser of the week. I guess we get right into, you kind of mentioned it in your loser of the week, college football. Alabama lost.
Shout out Vandy, bro. Never thought I would ever say this ever, honestly, in my lifetime, but Vandy beat Bama. Vandy beat Bama.
Vandy beat Bama, and Vandy won their third game.
Vandy beat Bama.
I don't think they never beat. I think they scored 16 points against Nick Saban during his time at Alabama. And granted, they don't play every single year. They probably play at most every other year, but 16 points.
Still, Saban was the coach for a long time.
Yeah, but the 3 wins for them is their most since 2019. And they have never had, or their last winning season was 2013 under now Penn State coach James Franklin.
Really? How about that?
So if the season ended today and they stopped the count, they would have another winning season. But of course, they still have to play the grind of an SEC schedule. And a quick shout out to Diego Pavia. He shat on our Auburn Tigers in homecoming last year, but his last two SEC games, he's averaging 285 all-purpose yards, and he has 4 touchdowns and no picks.
Yeah, he's balling right now. You got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, you can't say single-handedly beat Bama, but that man was special and definitely the MVP of the game.
Yeah, and the last thing on that game, those fans, I don't know what kind of upper arm strength they have, but they carried that goalpost like 2 miles down Broadway into that river.
That was impressive, dude. I mean, it takes a village, right? It takes a village, but they had a village and they were all there. Look, this is a once Vandy beat Bama. Like I never thought I was going to say that, dude. I salute those guys for taking that goalpost down there. First time that they ever got to storm the field, I think. So shout out Vandy for beating Bama.
Through Broadway too. Like there's a lot of bars, a lot of traffic there. Like that's a difficult task, and they managed it.
They probably had help.
Yeah, they probably had some help. The bouncers just got away from their jobs and helped them clear the play.
Look, there's people on a mission. You're going to help those people.
All right, well, another SEC team lost. Tennessee lost to Arkansas.
Yeah, that was wild too. I mean, a lot of people thought Tennessee was looking unstoppable, but what do they say? Woo pig, pig suey,
Woo pig suey.
woo pig suey.
Yeah, shout out friend of the program, Hunter Pollitt. I know he responds to our tweets a lot, tries to get some betting advice, and his Arkansas Razorbacks beat our Auburn Tigers, and now they beat the Tennessee Volunteers. They may find themselves ranked sooner than later.
Yeah. I mean, look, you beat a top 5 team, you find yourself right on the brink instantly. So yeah, you put in another good week. I don't know who they have this week or upcoming on their schedule that would propel them in there, but they can't be too far from being a top 25 team.
Yeah, and one team that's hanging on, well, not really hanging on by a thread because they keep winning, but at least hanging on by a thread in the top 10. That's Miami. They barely snuck by Cal, 39-38, and that last touchdown, I'm pretty sure there were 2 linemen illegally in the end zone that the refs just decided to miss.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, wait, is a legal man downfield not a thing in college football?
That's supposed to be.
But no, I mean, you got to give Miami some credit. They keep doing it. They keep getting it done. And we know that Cal is no joke of a team after what we saw on the Plains a couple weeks ago together at that game.
Yeah, let's not talk about that one.
No. Missouri lost to A&M. I'm not going to say I saw this one coming, but A&M is a fine football team, and I did think that Mizzou, you can't be a one-dimensional team, and their offense is definitely fraudulent. So I wasn't totally shocked that they couldn't go into A&M and get it done in College Station.
A&M might be better than we thought, and especially in the age of the 12-team playoff where you can afford to lose a few games. A loss to Notre Dame, although they did lose to NIU, isn't going to kill you. Maybe A&M's actually not bad. I mean, Missouri might be overrated, but A&M just kicked them.
I think both of those statements are true. I think Mizzou's a little overrated and A&M's a little bit better than people give them credit for.
Yeah, I don't want to see A&M be good. I don't want to see any of these SEC teams be good, but I wouldn't mind Tennessee. Like, I would hate A&M being good, and I would really hate Bama being good, and that's why we loved Vandy, what they did to them. The last thing I had here on college football, and my brain's like still not in my body. I'm sorry about this whole podcast because I can't think right now. The Mets are on my mind. It's all purple grimace in my brain right now. But Army and Navy are both 5-0, and there's a chance they win out or both win out and lose their one game to Notre Dame, and they have to play in the American Championship game. The week after that American Championship game is Army-Navy.
I'm confused. They would be playing their conference championship game the week before against each other, the week before they play each other.
Yeah, Army Navy is always the standalone game between after the conference championship games before like the college football playoff gets announced. So they would play in the American championship game and then turn around a week later and play the Army Navy game.
Would the winner of the American Championship game not just sit all of their starters in
Well,
advance of the next?
the
Would they make a bowl game or would they
the
make the playoff?
the issue is if they both go in with 1 or 0 losses, they're probably going to be ranked high enough to where there'll be a conference champion that gets into the playoff.
Right.
So you can't exactly sit your starters. And then on the flip side, if the other team's ranked higher and they lose the conference championship, but then they beat that conference champion in Army Navy, should they get in over the conference champion?
Well, no, because isn't that already selected by the time that the conference champion is over? Like what the conference championship game will happen, and then the selection will happen based on the winner of that. And then that's what I'm saying. They'll already have that team locked in. Like if Army wins the conference championship, Army wins, and then um sorry, I'm blanking.
I don't think they announce it until after Army Navy because it's still a regular season game. So they technically aren't allowed to announce a field until the regular season is done.
So that is a regular season game.
Yeah, so they'd play their conference championship and then play a regular season game after their conference championship.
Okay, well that just makes zero sense.
Well, no one thought Army and Navy would be this good.
Okay, well maybe you need to send their JV teams out there.
But what if what if you need to win and you might still get in?
Yeah, I mean, shit, you gotta if that's the case, you obviously have to play your starters, but that's just this seems mental to have them play twice in a row against each other.
Yeah, I mean, let alone twice in a row, they both games might mean something.
Just
But yeah,
make the conference championship the Army Navy game.
but you can't because
Why not?
because like Gillette Stadium and MetLife Field, and they all pay to have the Army Navy. It's like this huge event, and the American's a completely different thing.
This sounds catastrophic.
It really does. And if I were the college football playoff committee, I'd really be hoping for Army and Navy to get some losses pretty soon.
They like have to have a plan for this.
I don't think they do.
Actually, yeah, I'm giving them way too much credit. There's no shot they do.
It could be a wild scenario we're looking at during Bulma's season.
I think that's enough for college football. If they can't figure it out, we can't either. Let's move on to the NFL.
All right, well, we'll start with the game tonight. It's the San Francisco 49ers, the 2-3 San Francisco 49ers, taking on the Seattle Seahawks in what has become a huge game in the scope of the NFC West. I don't know what way I'm leaning.
I don't know which way I would be leaning either if it weren't for the fact that the Seahawks just blew a game to the freaking New York Football Giants. They're in my doghouse right now. I have zero faith in the Seahawks. I don't want to hear about a comeback game or a bounce back game. They were just at home against your Giants and lost. I'm taking the Niners on the road. 3.5, yeah, give me that. I think they cover it. Maybe I'll buy it down to 2.5 just in case. But the Niners are working with a backup kicker anyway. No, give me the Niners minus 3.5. Purdy will have a day. Jordan Mason will have a day. Jordan Mason's line set at 81.5. He'll go over on that. And that's where my money will be. Jordan Mason on the over and 49ers on the spread.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Well, I'll address the Giants real quick. And this is very first world sports fan problems that I'm not used to because the Mets, as we know, aren't normally good. But I couldn't enjoy that win on Sunday because I was stressing about Tyler McGill with the bases loaded. And now they have an NLCS game on Sunday, so I won't be able to watch the Giants again. And I know you can say two TVs, blah, blah, blah. I think a friend of the program, Nick Stewart, was yelling at me. He's like, you don't have two TVs because he texted me about the Giants. I'll put them on my computer. But you have to understand when the Mets are on, like I have the radio broadcast on, I am locked into the TV. I'm standing in front of my TV with my computer behind me. Like I'm not paying attention to two things at once. I can barely pay attention to Rose. Like I'm locked in on the Mets here. Right? I can't be bothered about the Giants. And it really sucks. I might have to rewatch that Seahawks game because it was such a good game apparently.
Well, I mean, I can't blame you for half a second. You're talking about your team in postseason play. Like playoff time is here. Do we care about that or do we care about a Giants team who's going to finish the season with 5 or 6 wins? I mean, come on.
I mean, hey, they're on pace for more than 5 or 6. You never know. It's been a crazy year, Jack.
Hey, man, you never know. Never know. They're going to finish with 6 wins, though.
And we also, I have to bring this back. We call Kansas City a bad sports town and maybe our NFC West preview. I forget, it was a while ago, but we did call them a bad sports town.
I think you called them a bad sports town.
Matt agreed with me. You might have not agreed with me, but Matt definitely agreed with me. But I saw a tweet from somebody that maybe they were trolling. I really don't know, but they basically the problem I just had on Monday Night Football with the Royals playing and the Chiefs playing. And they said, what am I supposed to do with this? They had the Chiefs on their like 60-inch TV and the Royals were on their tiny laptop. Like you have that the other way around. The Chiefs have won back-to-back Super Bowls. What are you doing here?
In a week 5 game against the Saints
Yeah.
that I told everybody was going to go under, which it did. Like, why are you going to watch that game over your baseball team, who again is in the playoffs? It's the playoffs. There's more than half of the other, like 60% of the league is sitting at home, with the popcorn, not being able to watch their team. They're like, oh, I wish. I don't even know. I'm trying to think of a team. I wish Mike Trout wasn't injured. Maybe we'd be in the playoffs this year. Like the Angels fans are pissed. If you're a Royals fan, you got your team in the playoffs. Enjoy it.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bad sports town, Kansas City. Bad sports town.
Well, that's a bad sports fan. But at the same time, maybe he just cares way more about football and the Chiefs than he does the Royals. But if you're going to be putting them on equal playing fields, the playoff team should win 10 times out of 10.
Yep. Well, I guess we can get to a better sports city, London. Your Jaguars.
You want to talk about the Lunder? We could talk about the Lunder.
I don't know if I like the Lunder this week.
You don't?
I think there's going to be points. Might go Lover, the lover.
The Lover. I don't know if I'm with you there. I think traditionally, I mean, these London games do go under. I think a lot of the Jags London games go under too. I know last week was obviously a revelation for this Jags offense. We looked incredible. Trevor had a career high 375 yards, 3 touchdowns. It was great, but this Bears defense that I've been preaching since preseason, they're still very legit. And then on the flip side, I think Caleb is going to have a tough time with our D line that came on last week. And I don't know, man. I like the under here.
I guess I don't hate it now that you talk about it a little more. The Bears have been scoring points, and the Jaguars, I think, I hope, I pray, are going to have Evan Ingram back.
Yeah. I mean, I've been hearing for like 2 weeks now that he's looking good. He might be able to go this week, but we'll see. I do expect him to be back soon, though.
Yeah, well, soon might not be soon enough for my fantasy team. But all of my fantasy teams are struggling, which I really can't complain about, and I won't complain about because of the Mets. But I'm getting kind of worried I might come in last place in a few fantasy leagues this year.
I cannot say the same. I'm 5-0, and then 4-1 in 3 other leagues. So with a combined record of 17-3, I'm sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, well, it must be nice. I am 3-2 in the Views League, so I'll take that.
Shout out Rashi Rice.
Yeah, I did. This just shows how much my brain hasn't been paying attention to football lately. I picked up Juju Smith-Schuster in my home league on Monday before the game started. And then last night or Tuesday night, I went to go pick him up off waivers and didn't see him there, and then realized he was on my roster.
I can't lie. I did that with Tucker Craft in one of my leagues. I was like, wait, somebody already has Tucker Craft? And I was like, oh, I do, of course.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm not alone there. Do we even want to touch on the Browns and the Eagles? I will say the Eagles are my survivor pool pick this week. I picked the Falcons. Yeah, the Falcons in our roundtable when they were playing the Mets, just because I said, you know what, the city of Atlanta needs something. The city of Philadelphia needs something this week, and it's going to be the Eagles beating the Browns.
Yeah, I like that. It's a fair play for Survivor. Absolutely. The Browns' offense is probably the worst in the league. And the Eagles get to come off a bye. I mean, you'd think that they are getting healthy, getting right off the bye. Maybe A.J. Brown's back, maybe Devonta Smith back. Lane Johnson might be back. I don't know the injury status on these guys, but some big names could be back, especially after a bye. I like Philly at home in this one for sure.
Yeah, 8.5 is a little high, even with the Browns being so anemic.
Yeah,
But
I agree. I'll stay away from that. But as a survivor play, I like the Eagles.
yeah, if I had to put like a bet down on this, which I won't be, just because I won't be watching any of these games most likely, or it depends what time the Mets are scheduled for. But I like a Saquon Barkley, get him whatever his rushing yards at -250 are, and then the Eagles at like -5.5, and get that to around a -130 play.
Yeah, not a bad play. Moving on to our next game, Commanders traveling to the Ravens. Commanders have been one of the hottest teams in the NFL. Jaden Daniels seems unstoppable, but he is a 6.5 point underdog in Baltimore this week with a very high total of 52.5 points.
Yeah, I don't know if they probably do continue to play in the preseason, but this is a rivalry. They play in the preseason every year, and both teams like want to win in the preseason. I think it was 2 years ago, the Ravens had no business. They could have just ran the clock out like a minute left, and Harbaugh sent out like his second string guys when it should be the fourth string guys. And then Justin Tucker hit a game-winning field goal as time expired in the last week of the preseason, just so they could beat the Commanders in the preseason. So there's a lot of bad blood here. And I love Jaden Daniels. So I think even though he wasn't on that team and the Commanders have a new regime, pretty much a whole new regime, they hate the Ravens enough to where they should be able to cover 6.5 points.
Yeah, I mean, look, nobody's been able to stop. I've doubted the Commanders on and off throughout these first 5 weeks, and they've just ran through everybody. So I'm with you there. I could be on the Commanders plus 6.5. But I love the over in this game as well. 52.5. I know it's high, but I still love the over. The Commanders' offense has not been stopped by anybody. And then on the flip side, as well as Jaden Daniels has been playing, I mean, I think Lamar Jackson is right there with being the best quarterback in the league right now. He's got another MVP season in the form in coming in right now. So yeah, these two offenses are going to be explosive. I like over 52.5. This is going to be like another 60, 70 point game.
Yeah, I like that. I think this is a game we finally see Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews kind of coexist and have 70 receiving yards and a touchdown each. The Commanders can't stop anybody passing the ball, and Harbaugh knows that. And I think Lamar's actually going to cook through the air, which is going to be rare this year, but we might see it.
Yeah, I mean that's how you beat the Commanders. Go against those DBs. But what makes you say Mark Andrews is going to do it this week? I mean, through the first 5 weeks, it's been brutal. Last week, it was Isaiah Likely for 2 touchdowns, the third string tight end for 2 touchdowns. I know Mark Andrews had like 5 catches, 50 yards, 70 yards, something like that, maybe. But like, what makes you think that this is going to be his week? You think he's back?
I think Harbaugh knows that Andrews is a team player. He loves to block. Obviously, he's a tight end, but I think he wants to get him at some point. He wants to get him his flowers, and he wants to give him a big game. And this is the game you could kind of afford to scheme up stuff for him that you know is probably going to be open. And
Yeah.
Lamar likes him too. I think Andrews will have the ability to get open, and if he's open, Lamar's going to feed him.
Okay. Well, I still have Mark Andrews on my bench in a couple leagues. I dropped him in a couple leagues. I still got him on my bench in other places. He will be planted on my bench, but hopefully he can have a breakout game and I can trade him afterwards.
There you go.
Moving on to the next one, the Bucks travel to the Saints for an NFC South divisional prime time. I mean, it's 1 o'clock, but this is a prime time game. If you ask me, Bucks Saints are always a marquee matchup, and the Bucks go to New Orleans as 3.5 point favorites, which I think is a little surprising in a game that's a 41 and a half over under.
Yeah, I think with Derek Carr's oblique and the Saints on the losing streak, and the Bucks, even though they lost to the Falcons, they look good. At least the offense did.
Yeah, it did.
Uh, I think I like the Bucks here. I think the right team's favored, but it's also that weird divisional game where, of course, I didn't have the time or I guess the effort to find their all-time stats like I did for the Bucks and Falcons. But I'm sure it's pretty even. And maybe if the Saints are a game or two behind in the all-time series, I'll switch up here and say the Saints. But the Bucks at 3.5, maybe by down to 2.5. But that seems like a good line to kind of take advantage of.
Yeah, this is a game that I like to stay away from, Bucks Saints. But if you're gonna make me pick one, I'm going with the Bucks. Their offense, I honestly, I go back and I watch that highlights of that game on Thursday night with the Falcons. I understand Kirk threw for 500 yards, but I still don't understand how the Bucks didn't win this game. Their offense literally couldn't be stopped. I go back and watch the replays. I'm like, how did they ever not score a touchdown on every single drive? It seemed like they could get it however they wanted for the entirety of the game and still somehow lost. It just honestly boggled my mind watching those highlights. But for that reason, with how good they looked, I'm going with the Bucks. Keep it hot, keep it rolling. The Saints, even though they looked great in those first 2 weeks, they came back down to earth and have looked very mortal since then.
Yeah, they look like the best team in football, and I think we called them the best team in football through the first 2 weeks, and now they are one of the worst teams in football, at least the last 3 weeks. Yeah. This game should be more fun, maybe. The Cardinals and the Packers. Also 1 o'clock. It feels like it should be a 4 o'clock game, but I guess Wisconsin Central Time, which makes it noon. But yeah, no, this game should be later in the day. Bad scheduling by the NFL.
Is there only one 4 o'clock game? Or you just didn't put all the games on here?
There's only one 4 o'clock game that's worth watching.
Okay.
Yeah, the other ones are like Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers, or maybe it's Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders, and some other terrible team.
Is it New England?
Yeah. No, New England's playing Houston.
Oh, ew. That's also a gross game.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about that game though, because Drake May is starting.
That's going to be a tough game for him.
That's fair. I think we can leave it at that.
Yeah, no, but I like this Cardinals Packers matchup in Green Bay. Kyler Murray has been awesome to start the year. Oh man, I don't know how I feel about this game. This feels like one that the Packers they take care of business at home.
Yeah, I do like the Packers here. Jordan Love has looked really good, and the Cardinals defense is not very good. It feels like he could have a 300-yard game, which would be pretty brutal for Matt to add to his list of brutal streaks here, being a week too early with the Jordan Love 300-yard game. But if Romeo Doubs will be back too, it feels like a good Packers bounce back spot.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games where you can build a nice fat same game parlay, put in a whole bunch of props, and a lot of overs are going to hit for you.
Yeah, I like that call a lot too. A lot of same game parlay action here.
Yeah, I'll definitely get in on some Kyler props, some Jordan Love props, probably some Jaden Reed props, and then on the Cardinals side, I think Marv has been good. but he could be better. Do we want to go with Marv on this one? Who would you go as the Cardinals' go-to guy here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Jair Alexander is kind of fallen off as the years have gone, but he's still a person that's there to guard Harrison. I like Trey McBride a little more if you're going to take that route.
Yeah, I mean James Conner had a killer week last week, so maybe you could go back to the well there. But anyway, lot of value to be had in that Cardinals Packers matchup.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, you can put a couple in there from the 1 o'clock and then parlay it right into the 4 o'clock game with the Lions at -3. In Jerry's world, plays the Cowboys. 52.5 over under, tied with the Ravens and Commanders. Didn't think I'd be saying that when the season started for the highest over under on the slate.
Yeah, I don't know. I find it a little bit surprising. I mean, I understand it's in the dome. Cowboys are at home, so that gives them an advantage against, a pretty decent Lions defense. I just don't understand why this game's at 52.5. I think the Lions defense is pretty good. The Cowboys offense has definitely struggled a bit. And aren't the Lions coming off a bye too? A whole extra week to scheme it up. Your players are rested. I like the Lions, and I don't like the Cowboys in this spot.
Yeah, the Lions are, I'll spoil it. The Lions are going to be my favorite this week. Just the thing the Lions do well, even though Jared Goff just doesn't throw any completions, the Lions run the ball probably the second best in the NFL behind the Ravens. And the Cowboys don't tackle. They don't stop the run. Micah Parsons is maybe back for this game, but I think Dexter Lawrence just got put on IR, or not Dexter Lawrence. He's on the Giants. Shows how my brain's working. DeMarcus Lawrence, that's the Cowboy. He just got put on IR.
Yeah, he is.
So David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are going to feast. And I just don't see the Cowboys scoring enough, especially with the Lions just being able to take care of the clock too by running the ball.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head as far as the Lions' offensive scheme goes. I mean, that's the way it should go. They should be able to run all over the Cowboys, who, like you said, are missing some key defensive linemen, and on top of that, haven't been able to stop the run all year anyway.
Yeah. Well, the final game on the Sunday slate, and I know I said I may not be able to enjoy the Giants this week, but maybe, just maybe, Rob Manfred, you can be a friend this week and schedule NLCS game 1 for it's going to be in either San Diego or Los Angeles, same time zone, but 4 o'clock on Sunday, and it'll be over by 7, and then I'll be able to watch Sunday Night Football after the podcast instead of watching the Mets during the podcast and not being able to watch the Giants. But anyway, the Giants are +3.5. They're at home against the Bengals at MetLife. Matt's not here, so it's called MetLife Stadium. The New York Giants are 3.5-point dogs against the Bengals. I know the Bengals aren't great, but the line seems pretty close.
I mean, dude, the Giants just went into Seattle and beat a very, I thought was a very good Seattle team. I mean, they were 4-1, weren't they? Shit. Or excuse me, 3-1. But no, I mean, the Giants did it without Neighbors. I'm assuming they'll have him back this week.
Yeah, he should be back.
The Bengals, on the other hand, who I know you love Joe Burrow and think that the Bengals are winning the Super Bowl and all that, but they've had their plenty shares of struggles, and yeah, the more I look at this game, the more I'm buying into the Giants, and I really shouldn't be.
Well, I guess I'd love to hear that.
I don't, dude. It's at MetLife on Sunday night. This feels like the grossest game ever.
Do you really see a world where the Giants are 3-3?
No, no, no. But
That's the issue.
I also just, you know what I got for you, Brian? They should have left. They should have flexed this game to the 4 o'clock slate and given us Lions Cowboys for Sunday Night Football. That's all I got for you.
Yeah, maybe you might be right there, but
Hopefully, I'm busy Sunday night. I don't even want to watch this game.
you'll be recording the podcast. So
Dude, I hate the Giants. I
why?
hate the Giants.
Why?
I honestly is because of all the fucking Daniel Jones and part of my French. All because all the Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence
Okay, that's fair.
comparisons you like to make. And then secondly, I still cannot I'm still not over the fact that they beat Seattle in Seattle last week and lost me a ton of money.
That's fair. All right, well, I'll be rooting for the Giants, especially, well, if the Mets win, I'll really be rooting for the Giants. If the Mets lose, I'll be sadly rooting for the Giants. But it's only game one, so I don't have to be that stressed about it, although I still will be.
Stop talking to yourself.
I'm telling you, my brain's not working. I'm still on, like, I'm not on Earth right now. But let's go through our bets. My favorite over is Falcons Panthers, 47.5.
I'm not there with you at all. I absolutely do not love that over. Yeah, no, I'm out on that. My favorite over, it's either Cardinals Packers or Commanders Ravens. I think I'm gonna go with Commanders Ravens.
I hope so. Jaden Daniels needs to have, I mean, he's had a bunch of wins, but this would be a signature win if he can go into Baltimore and score like 35 points and beat the
Well,
Ravens.
that's that. I feel like we're gonna get a very similar game to what we just saw with the Ravens against the Bengals last week with Burrow, where not I'm not expecting an OT thriller, but I am expecting a very high scoring game where these offenses are just punishing both defenses.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. And I wish you were on the same page with Falcons and Panthers as me, but maybe that's just a bad a Mets brain bet. It depends on home. So Andy Dalton should have some juice at home, and the Falcons can score points. We saw it against Tampa.
Yeah, the Falcons can definitely score points. I mean, I'm not 0% guaranteeing it, but I'm not with you there. I'm not on that.
All right, fine. Well, maybe you'll be with me on my under. It's gonna be the Colts and the Titans under 43.5.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, especially if Anthony Richardson plays, it's probably this line probably goes down to like 39.5. So maybe try to grab it today when you're listening to this because I feel like he will play. And Shane Steichen said if he is healthy, he is the starting quarterback, which you may think that's the right decision or the wrong one, but it's the head coach's decision. So I'm just going to play the under based on hoping he'll be there. And I still think this could hit if Joe Flacco's in.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Regardless of who starts there, I do like that under. It's not going to be my favorite under the week, but I do like it. Yeah, so my favorite under of the week is going to be the game I called dog water. I don't want to watch it. Should have been flexed out of Sunday Night Football. Bengals and Giants. 48.5 seems a little too high. I understand Joe Burrow's kind of cooking right now, and the Giants, looked competent without neighbors, but 48.5 seems too high for a game at JetLife.
Why?
I told you I'm still salty about the fact that the Giants won that game last week and beat Seattle.
I hope the Giants hit this over by themselves now, just because you had to pull Jet Life out. All right.
Hey, look, the Bengals defense is bad enough. I mean, it would not shock me. It would shock me, but there is a route to possibility where the Giants do drop 49 points.
Maybe it's a Theo Johnson fantasy tight end week.
Stop it.
My favorite prop's going to be the line's not out yet, but whichever running back in the Detroit backfield has a lower total for rushing yards, that's going to be my favorite prop of the week.
I like that. They should be able to run it all over the Cowboys. My favorite prop is going to be for those listening to this ASAP Rocky when it drops. Jordan Mason tonight going over 81 rushing yards. I saw Tyrone Tracy Jr. run for 100 yards with the Washington offensive line against, or excuse me, with the Giants offensive line against Seattle last week. There should be zero reason the 49ers and Jordan Mason with that awesome offensive line, Shanahan run scheme, there's no reason he can't hit 100 yards against the Seahawks, especially on a short week.
Yeah, and I did miss this opportunity. I can't believe I did last Sunday. But assuming Devin Singletary doesn't play this weekend, which I think he's trending towards he is, but if he doesn't and Tyrone Tracy is the starting running back, I will be placing a Tyrone parlay on Tyrone Taylor over 1.5 bases and Tyrone Tracy to get his rushing yard total.
Shout out Tyrone.
My favorite, right on the same kind of thinking as my favorite prop, it's going to be the Lions -3.
Yeah, I like it. Again, they should be able to run it all over the Cowboys, who that defense is just not what it has been. I like it. My favorite, again, is going to be for those who are listening to this right here, right now on opening day. It's going to be the 49ers tonight. The Seahawks, again, maybe take all my 49ers bets with a grain of salt. I'm just down on the Seahawks right now. And I think that the 49ers, despite their struggles, they are getting healthier. Debo's back. Kittle's good. They should be able to take care of the Seahawks. 3.5 points. I mean, that is not enough.
It is if the 49ers can actually show up as who we think they are, that's a very low line. But that's been an issue.
They just got to keep their foot on the gas, honestly. Stop letting up.
Yep. Well, we did talk about this offline, but I think we have the same favorite dog, and we're both going up to London, and I am going to bet on your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Duval. Let's go, Jags, baby.
Evan Ingram, please come back. But that's the NFL.
Fair enough.
But I guess we can end the show here with our Michaels of the week. I'll get right into mine. The anonymous NBA GM survey came out because the season's about to start, and they do it every year. Steph Curry only got 87% of the votes for the best shooter in basketball.
Who got the other 20%?
There was a bunch of others receiving votes. How is he not 100%?
I mean, when did this I mean, did people just I got a couple questions here. One, have you not watched the NBA for the past decade? That's 10 years he's been doing this as the best. And then secondly, I don't know exactly when this poll was
2 days ago.
What?
2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yep.
That's when it was when they polled everybody.
That's when they released the poll. So probably
right. So I don't know when these people were polled, but if this was after what we just saw this man Steph Curry do in the 2024 Summer Olympics, y'all gotta go get your head checked. This man is the best shooter of all time. He is still the best shooter right here, right now. He just proved it at the Olympics. I don't know what y'all are watching. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time and current.
Yeah, well, you seem pretty annoyed about it already, so I guess I don't have to drop this bomb on you, but I will anyway. One of the others receiving votes, Luke Kennard.
It's a joke. Joe, what did his mom get a vote? What the hell, guys?
Yeah, it's a rough showing for NBA GMs.
Yeah, well, that is a good Michael of the week. My Michael of the week, we actually already touched on it a little bit, but just, in the spirit of Michael of the week, something I saw in sports this week that absolutely shocked me. Didn't really have words for it. I just got 3 for you. Vandy beat Bama. I'm out. It's been a great show. We'll see you guys Saturday morning for the college football live show. Sunday morning for the NFL morning live show.
You are now
Catch
in
you
the mix
soon.
with DJ Savage.
Great outro. I'm gonna go watch some Mets celebration videos.
Vandy beat Bama.